By the end of this video, I hope you'll have 3 tools to improve happiness and gratitude from Stoicism, which will help you essentially feel more grateful and happy for you already have. I hope today I can break down really why we feel a bit dissatisfied and unhappy going through life day to day, and essentially I put this down to 2 things in this context. The first is the theory of the happiness gap, where essentially, the gap theory of happiness you could call it. It's where we are not happy until we achieve something. So a good example of this could be you're at work or you're doing something you're not really interested in doing, and then you will feel happy or grateful when you get something or when you have something at the end of your day. So it could be when you get home and watch telly, or when you go out and see a friend, or once you achieve this certain milestone, or you have this for dinner, or you go out and do that. And essentially you're holding your happiness hostage in the present until you feel that it's worthy of your happiness in the future, which isn't very helpful. And the second way I feel that we can feel quite dissatisfied or unhappy day to day is through something called the hedonic treadmill or hedonic adaptation. And this is essentially where you're going through your day and you have an achievement, and then the goalposts move, or through life and you achieve something, you get something, and the goalpost moves. The most simple way of looking at this for all of us is a lot of us were told to go to university, or suggested it was a good idea, then to get a job, then to buy a house, and then to go up and up and up. But the goalposts always move for this. So you get a house, and then you want a bigger house, or you buy a car, then you want the newest car, or you buy a phone, the latest model comes out, you want another phone. And we're almost projecting how we want to feel onto these future events, but we never actually arrive at a place where we feel content with what we have, because we're on this adaptation or this treadmill of desire. So I hope that some methods today can change the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we act in relationship to gratitude and happiness moment by moment. So let's get into the first tool. So the first tool would be negative visualization. It's a key tool within Stoicism, and it essentially deals with the idea that our frame of mind determines the quality of life, not the events that are happening moment to moment, which is a key tenet that I like to live by. So negative visualization is, rather than when something happens to us, whether it's our own thoughts or the events in the outside world or somebody else, and we think a certain way, instead we choose to think dramatically worse. You think of a scenario that could be much, much, much worse than the one you're in, then you feel grateful and happy and lucky for the fact that that isn't your life, and actually your life is what it is right now. So it seems a little bit counterintuitive, but you're thinking negatively to feel positively. You're projecting how your situation could be much, much worse than it is, or somebody else's situation could be much, much worse than yours, then coming back to the fact that your life right now is actually very good in comparison to that. So one example of this could be you are out with your car, or you're on a bus, maybe on your way to work, and it breaks down. And you could think your normal pattern of thought, I wish I'm going to be late for work, what am I going to do? Or I was meant to meet this person here at this time, and then you're on that thoughts and feelings cycle. But instead you could think, what's dramatically worse than this? A little negative visualization. You think, what if we broke down on the middle of the motorway at high speed? Or what if the bus driver pulled out onto this junction into heavy traffic? And then you feel, wow, that isn't actually my life. My life is just being sat here on the side of the road, broken down, waiting for someone to come and help me. So you're thinking negatively, much more scenario, to feel positively. Another one could be you're having a less than satisfactory day at work, and you're just waiting, I can't wait to get home, can't wait to do this, I'm really not enjoying this job, wish I was somewhere else. These are all just thoughts and thoughts and thoughts and thoughts, they're not reality. So then you can flip this and think, what if I came to work today and my boss said, oh, your job isn't here, James, sorry, but company's liquidating, or we found somebody to fill your position. Just any scenario which is dramatically worse than the one that you're thinking about now. Just general dissatisfaction. And then you think, wow, you think negative on a negative visualization style, much further, much deeper than it actually is, and then come back to feeling, wow, what does my job offer me? It offers me support my family, support myself. It gives me free time to do the things I want to do. So you're really cultivating this feeling of positivity based on the negativity of a scenario that could have been. So hope these help. I'll give you one more example of this. Would be perhaps the most impactful one, but very useful one, is say you were to lose somebody. So you're just having an argument with a friend or a partner or mum or dad or son or daughter, and instead of going, oh, this person's annoying me, why can't they think the way I think, what's going on here, you think, wow, what if I woke up this morning, or what if right now my phone called and somebody I love, this person or somebody else, had gone from my life. They'd moved to Australia, or they'd moved across the other side of the world, or they've died, or they fell very, very ill. Something has taken this situation away from me. And then you think actually, wow, this is the situation I'm in. I'm just having a petty argument with somebody. And it should shift your mood, and you should feel grateful and lucky to have that person in your life. So negative visualization is essentially being able to reframe your current situation to make it more optimistic, more grounded, less taken for granted than you previously were thinking about the situation or about your life as a whole. So let's get into tool number 2, which will be the idea of enough. So the idea of enough is linked to Stoicism and linked to the negative visualization, but it comes at it in a slightly different way. So even though things aren't perfect, say your friends, your family, your job, your hobbies, your interests, all these things, they might not be going as well as you'd like them to, but this idea of enough, if you can embed this, essentially saying when you wake up in the morning or wherever you're at in your day right now, you just say, oh, what I have now is enough, and feel it genuinely. All those things I mentioned are enough. Everything else will seem like an extra, like a bonus, like a win. So I'm happy with my health right now. What I have is enough. That doesn't mean you're going to stop training or stop practicing or trying to improve your health, but everything else is a win. Every exercise you do from now on, every bit of going to the gym or doing with your sports team, whatever you're doing, is an extra, it's a bonus, because you are at a place of contentment and acceptance of where you are. So being able to accept and being able to embed this philosophy of I have enough will make you more grateful for what you already have, and it will put you in a better position strategically to enjoy the things and not see them as chores going forward. I'm happy with my friends, so I'm going to make more of an effort with them, and that's a win, rather than I'll make more of an effort with my friends and then it will be good. That's that gap theory of happiness that I mentioned earlier. So this idea of enough, it's essentially rewarding the effort process and accepting where you are right now. If you're liking all of this so far, it'd be really great if you could give me a like, a subscribe, maybe comment below. That would really help me out. And yeah, let's get into the third tool, which will be the Dichotomy of Control. So the Dichotomy of Control, it sounds a bit ambiguous, but it's in or out of your control. That's the way I like to think of it. All things either in your control or out of your control. So what's in your control is your responsive thoughts, your actions, and your efforts. Everything else is out of your control. So that would be your initial thoughts, the actions and thoughts and behaviors of others, and the world, the weather, mechanical things, all things that you can't have control of. And also the crucial thing here is the effort part is where the effort you put into it is in your control, but the result is out of your control. So this is the linchpin of Stoicism, really. Other than the 4 virtues, you've got courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance to live by and to always use at any time, according to the Stoics. This idea of everything being enough, the dichotomy of control rather, allows you to separate life and simplify it into 2 ways. Either you can put your effort into things, or you can let go of them. So where this links into happiness and gratitude is that it's not necessarily giving you a gratitude practice, but it allows you to disassociate any situation and divide it into where you put your energy and where you put your time and what you can let go of. And that will increase gratitude and happiness. I'm almost certain, other than some tactics from mindfulness and meditation, this has been the most beneficial tool I've been able to use. Just at any time, something can happen, or your thoughts can happen, and you can go, is this in my control? Or is this out of my control? If it's out of my control, I'm not going to give it my time and my energy, because that's going to drain me. That's going to take my time and energy away from the things that are in my control and that will give me happiness and that will give me gratitude and that will improve my life. Be that compassion or strength or whichever angle you want to go. Someone will say something to you, or something will happen to you, you'll read something, and you'll just take a pause, take a moment before you react, notice what's cultivating, what feelings and thoughts are arising, and then just say to yourself, is this in my control or is this out of my control? And it will allow you to navigate your life in a way that will increase happiness and gratitude. So the fourth and added extra tool isn't a tool in itself, but it's a way that you can practice the other methods I've laid out. So with negative visualization, philosophy professor William Irvine says that negative visualization, you can use this for all the other tools, should be like a prescription, taken little and often, so it works at its best. As I'm sure you know, if anyone takes a prescription for their liver, their heart, their feet, their lungs, their brain, whatever, you take it little and often, and if you don't take it, there starts to be consequences for not taking it. So I would recommend, if you start using these practices, use them little and often, and it will actually change something called the default mode network in your brain. Our standard state is where we ruminate about things, analyze things, overthink things, have chatter in the mind, and by adding this in slowly, often, we start to change the neuroplasticity of the brain and start to feel more grateful and happy and have a wider perspective and feel more optimistic, just because we're reinforcing, it's what they call firing to wire. So you fire the neurons in your brain to wire them in your brain, and once they're wired, they're embedded in and they start to become your natural default state. So I hope practicing can become a crucial part of increasing gratitude. There's another little way I'd like to add in practice, where formally you could practice all of these things. You could sit in the morning and say, what's in my control today, what's out of my control today. You could say, I have enough right now, everything else can be extras, everything else can be a bonus. Or you could say, stand up from your morning meditation, or you're brushing your teeth, and you say, take that hand or that foot away. So you stand on one leg, or take that hand away and say, wow, I'm so lucky to have this part of my body that facilitates my day and my life. Feeling grateful for what you already have. Or you could practice these throughout your day in response to things. Just take 10 seconds. Just take 10 seconds instead of reacting the way you do to try and implement one of these. So I'll quickly touch on Arthur Brooks, who's another, he's a Harvard professor actually, who teaches a course on happiness, and he breaks down the 4 pillars of happiness, which I won't go into now, but the ways to improve happiness and solidify it are to teach it eventually, to practice it, as we've said, and to learn it. So learning it is the first step to do the work. If it's not some of the tools I've given you today, there's plenty of other tools on gratitude and happiness. Start to cultivate them, start to learn them, then keep that cultivation going with practice, and then teaching it. Maybe you could teach it to a friend, a colleague, a family member, and you'll embed that philosophy and that within you to feel more natural. If you're learning, teaching and practicing consistently, it will start to become a part of how you act naturally. So I've also written in much more detail an article on my website simplesherpa.co.uk about gratitude, pulling tools from Stoicism as well as Buddhism and other philosophies and psychological fields. And if you want to check that out, it'll be in the link in the description below. And yeah, I hope this has helped. I hope I've given you some tactics and tools which you can implement in your day to feel like you're more grateful, more happy, and put you in that position to go out and do these things, go out and achieve the things you want to achieve, but as extras, as additions to what you already have. And I hope these tools today can help you realise and feel grateful for what you already have, and then go on to do everything else that you want to do as bonuses, as wins. So thank you very much for listening. There'll be plenty more to come, and take care, my friends.